Hey mama, and welcome back to For Moms, a safe space. I'm your host Simone, and I'm so glad you're here. Last week we talked about parenting styles, traditional versus gentle, and how so many of us are trying to parent differently than we were raised. But we're also trying to honor the structure that helped shape us. And this made me think about how much everything we do as moms is layered, especially when we're trying to juggle it all. So today, we're shifting into a topic that's been heavy on my heart. Being a full-time mom and a full-time working mom. Because, let's be real now, they're both full-time jobs. Whether you're in an office, remotely from home, in healthcare, customer service, education, wherever, you are also the cook, the chauffeur, the therapist, the snack machine, the planner, the cleaner. You are the calm in the chaos. And today is not about giving you a checklist or telling you to balance it better. It's about being honest about what it really feels like. It's about the parts we don't always say out loud. And it's also about reminding you that you are not failing. You're just carrying more than any one person was meant to carry alone. So let's start with this, the identity switching. 1 minute you're in work mode. You're typing emails, you're on Zoom, you're solving problems. Maybe you're dealing with customers. Maybe you're managing people. And then in the very next minute, sometimes with no warning, you're back in mom mode. You're wiping faces. You're answering the dreaded question, what's for dinner? You're holding space for meltdowns and doing all while mentally still stuck in a work task that you haven't finished yet. And see, with moms, it's more than multitasking. It's almost like emotional whiplash, right? Because this kind of role switching is draining. You have to show up 100% at work and 100% as a mom. And these are two completely different areas. And the thing is, we're not machines. Therefore, you don't have that 200% to give. And by the end of the day, well, the emotional, the overstimulation, it's so real. And sometimes you don't get to take that deep breath until there's silence in your house when your kids have now gone to sleep. Now, my girlfriend, she sent me a voice note. And I think that this voice note really summed up what a lot of us moms feel at the end of the day, right? She said, so imagine you're working a job, right? Let's say you work from home. While you're working, you're also thinking about what to make for dinner. So while I'm on the clock, I took meat out to thaw so they can eat later. Then I had to stop working to feed a kid or both kids. Maybe one's still asleep, so that's a little break. But when they wake up, it's time to feed them. Then I got to feed me. Then if my man's hungry, now I got to feed him too. My mind doesn't cut off. My mind don't effing stop. I'm in constant thinking mode. Is everything okay? Am I doing this right? Am I missing something at work? And when I get off, it's the same thing all over again. My brain is always in proactive mode, future mode, fix it mode. And sometimes I just want to turn all this sugar, honey, iced tea off. And baby, ain't that the truth? Ain't that the truth? Now, when I had my oldest son, I was working at TSA. And my shift was brutal. I started out with one shift, and then because of low seniority, I was pushed to a different shift. And at the time, I didn't have a car. I knew how to drive. But the shift switched to a morning shift. And it was like, okay, how am I going to get to work? How am I going to do this? Now, things worked out in my favor, thank God. And my shift being 4 a.m. to 12:30 p.m., it was like, what daycare is open at this time? Who's going to care for my child? Well, thankfully, my mother, she's had her own daycare for a very long time. People that she took care of when I was small, we all have our own kids now. That's how long she's been in the daycare business. So she was my caregiver for my son. And that was a blessing because I couldn't fathom finding somewhere to take him at 3 o'clock in the morning. And he was a baby, you know. But unfortunately, that is some moms' realities. You know, some moms do have to figure things like that out because they don't have a village around them to support them. Now, it all worked out good when he was small because he was little. You know, he didn't have to be woken up. He just wake up when he was ready to wake up, and we went about our day. Now, when he went to kindergarten, that's when a little trouble came in. Because obviously you can't drop your kid off at kindergarten at 3 o'clock in the morning, right? So I was with someone, and the team that we had was that person put him on the bus in the morning, and I was the one to get him off the bus in the afternoon. And it worked out fine. But while working at TSA, something snapped in me. Because for years I had tried to get a promotion and I was unsuccessful. Yet I was performing job duties of those who were in those higher positions. So it was really frustrating for me to do such a thing and not be paid for it and not be worthy of a promotion. So one day I came in and a lead had upset me by putting my brakes wrong. And remember how I said, it's not necessarily that one action that makes you snap, but it's just a buildup of things that you're going through. And that one thing can just break you right in that moment. And that's what happened to me. And I went to the podium and I said, who do I talk to about resigning? And the supervisor was like, you want to resign? And I said, yes, I do. I do. And they told me what to do, and I did it right then and there. Now, I didn't show up to work for the last 2 weeks because I felt no need to. I didn't feel like I was bringing anything to the table by coming in there because I had no more energy for this job. Now, I will say I quit this job without another job lined up. And honestly, it was probably the best leap of faith that I had ever taken. And that was back in 2019. It's 2025. And in that time frame, I have achieved my associate's, bachelor's, and master's degree. And I am now working in my field. And I love it. I absolutely love it. So when I quit TSA, I was unemployed for 6 weeks. And yeah, the income thing, that definitely was an issue. I will say that. But one thing I noticed is that I started to feel better because I was getting adequate sleep. And I was able to spend time with my son because I quit right towards the beginning of summer. Then when I got my new job working at the bank, I took a significant pay cut and I was okay with it. I was okay with it because number one, I had normal working hours. And number two, I was able to put my son on the bus and get him off the bus. And that made me feel really, really good. It made me feel good. And then COVID came. And what a time COVID was, right? What a time to be alive. Like Future and Drake said, what a time. And during COVID, I experienced the end of that relationship that I was in. And I had to end up moving back home with my parents. Now, moving from the county, as we call it, back to Philly was like, for me. You know, home is always home. Parents' house is always home. However, moving back, so many things had to change. For example, my son's bus. You know, Philly bus system, the transportation for school, in my opinion, isn't the greatest. It's not the greatest. So I struggled a lot with it. I didn't have a car. So I really had to depend on the school bus to get him to school. And it was hard. You know, it was hard dealing with everything that I was dealing with and then having to figure out how I'm going to get him to school. I don't have a car. I still have to go to work. It was a lot. It was. And then eventually I moved on to another job that was even better than the bank job because it was Monday through Fridays, no weekends, no holidays, 8:30 to 5. But then the struggle with that was, again, the bus would sometimes come in the morning, would sometimes not come in the morning. So I ended up enrolling in the transportation program where if you took your child to school in the morning or picked them up in the afternoon, they would compensate you. So I signed up for it. So every morning, my son and I would get up and I would drive 30 minutes away from my job to drop him off at school, and then drive 30 minutes from his school to get to my job, and pray every day that there was no traffic. Every day, pray there's no traffic, because a 5-minute slowdown was going to make me late to work. It was going to make me late to work. And then he would take the bus home in the afternoon. But obviously I'm still at work, so I'm having to depend on, my mom to get him off the bus. Well, my mom at some point was unwilling to do such. She didn't want to walk to the corner and get him off the bus. Why? I don't know. I'm not sure. But I had to end up putting him in aftercare. So that way she didn't have to worry about getting him off the bus anymore. So then what happened? I would leave work and I would drive 35, 40 minutes now because it's the afternoon. It's rush hour time. So it would take me a little bit longer to get to his school. I had to get there by 6 o'clock. I got off at 5. Okay. Get there by 6 o'clock, pick him up and come back home. And honestly, during that time, yeah, I'm doing what I got to do. I'm his mom. It's just me. I got this. But it did kind of hurt my feelings because your family is supposed to be a village to you, right? Everyone's supposed to chip in and help out. And it wasn't like I was just running on the streets and, doing the things that I wanted to do. I was literally working. So it did kind of hurt my feelings that my mom, wouldn't get him off the bus and I had to go through so much trouble in order to do so. And that's okay. It's okay. We figured it out. But when you think about all the juggling and the role switching and the nonstop thoughts and decision fatigue, man, there's this grief. A grief that silently creeps in. It's not loud. It's the grief of the I can't play right now moments. It's the missed field trips, the school plays you couldn't attend, the afternoon when your child was excited to show you something, but you were on a work call and couldn't look up. It feels like you're watching your child's life through a window. But you're so close, but you're always doing something else. And you're there, but you're not fully there, right? Your body is in the room, but your mind is writing an email. You're folding laundry while answering, that's nice, baby, because you're trying to do 3 things at once. And later that night, you replay it and wonder if you ever gave enough. And we do this thing, right? We go back over the day in our minds and list all the things we didn't do, didn't read the bedtime book, didn't respond with patience, didn't make eye contact when they were telling us about their day, didn't sit and play again. But guess what? You're not missing everything. You're doing what's necessary. You're working, showing up, making hard decisions, and choosing your child every single day, even when it doesn't look perfect. Our kids, they don't remember every single missed snack time or late pickup. But what they do remember is how they feel around us. They remember when you kissed their forehead at night, that you smiled when they walked into the room, that you stayed up and helped with a project even though you were dead tired, that you whispered, I love you on your way out the door every single day. You are planting memories even in your guilt. And yes, sometimes the guilt is heavy, but it's there because you care. And that care, that's proof that your heart is still all in, even when your time is stretched thin. So the next time you feel like you're falling short, I want you to pause and ask yourself, did I love them today? Did I show them kindness? Did I try even in my exhaustion? And if the answer is yes, then you did enough. So let's talk about this super mom myth. You know, the idea that you should be able to work full-time, parent with patience, keep the house spotless, meal prep for the week, stay connected with your partner, run a side hustle, drink enough water, and still somehow show up with your edges laid and your lashes curled. It's everywhere, especially on social media. You see those reels with the soothing music in the background, the soft lighting, the moms wearing matching loungewear while their toddlers eat perfectly chopped organic fruit and no one's house looks like a war zone. And meanwhile, you're sitting in the middle of laundry piles and random spills around the house, and your kids sitting there eating candy, and you're wondering if you're doing something wrong. And you're not. You're not failing. That image is just curated. Behind the filters, the hashtags, and the get ready with me videos, there's someone else doing exactly what you're doing. Surviving. Getting through the day the best she can. Sometimes with tears, sometimes with dry shampoo, sometimes with fast food. And listen, if you ever looked around your house, looked at your kids and thought, how am I supposed to keep doing this? That doesn't make you weak. That makes you human. I think of that all the time. You know, I work from home and I have my little 2-year-old and he is active. I'm constantly keeping him alive. And I'm telling him, little one, I'm trying to keep you alive all while trying to work. And the work that I do is not easy work. Let's make that clear. The work I do is very tedious. And one mistake, that's all I'm going to say. So imagine having to sit and do work while still pay attention to your toddler. Give them attention, give them the things they need, engage with them while still having to work. And then imagine for 7 years, I was doing full-time work, full-time school, and full-time mom. I started my master's degree program when my baby was 2 days old. 2 days old, 2 or 3 days old, I started my master's degree program. Now I have a newborn and I'm working on my master's degree. So this supermom thing, it's a trap. It tricks us into believing that burnout is the goal. Like if you're not exhausted, you're not trying hard enough. It tells you that asking for help is failure. The rest is laziness, that self-sacrifice and love. But the truth in it all is you don't earn your worth by running yourself into the ground. You don't have to do it all to be a good mom. And you don't need to prove anything to anyone. Sometimes being a strong mom looks like saying no. And that's something that I'm learning to do. I'm learning to say no. I'm learning to set boundaries on things that I feel are going to affect my mental. Sometimes it looks like frozen pizza for dinner. And that's okay, because guess what? They ate. Sometimes my little one says he wants a bowl of oatmeal for dinner. Fine with me. My oldest son, he'll make himself noodles in a heartbeat. Fine with me. There's been some nights I had pretzels and chips for dinner and I was okay with it. Sometimes it looks like hiding in the bathroom just to breathe. I had a moment like this the other day where I had to hide because I was so overwhelmed and so overstimulated. And I felt like if I was in the presence of my children, it wouldn't be good. So I hid in my room for like 2 hours. It's hard to not compare yourself to other moms. It is hard. But some versions of motherhood, they look impossible. You see the mom who's cutting up the fresh fruit and the kid has a well-balanced meal, and you think, okay, I can do that. But then you have to remember all the other tasks that you have. And remember, each household is different. Each kid is different. The dynamics surrounding your household and another person's household is completely different. So stop trying to compare yourself. Supermom isn't real, but you are. And your realness, your love, your showing up, your late night cuddles, your presence, that's enough. Now, we can't fix it all. We can't fix it all. But you have to find that shift, small shifts that'll make a difference. So find out what your negotiables are. For me, that's a quiet shower. Maybe 5 minutes of stillness before I log in. What do you think yours are? Say yes to help. Everyone wants to be strong and self-sufficient, but real strength is knowing when you need support. And that is something that I am working on. I'm working on being able to say, hey, I need help. And I think where I fail at is sometimes people can make you feel like you're a burden to them. They can make you feel like you asking them for help is really encroaching on them. And not see that you're asking for help because you genuinely need it. Because you feel like you're about to go over the edge. I don't know if you guys saw the story about the mother who she slit her kid's wrist. And there was a gentleman that ran into the kids like on the street and took them to the hospital along with the mom and found out that the mom had did that to her kids. And she said that she just couldn't take care of them. She couldn't take care of them. She didn't have help. And it's sad that a lot of moms are living that reality. They don't have the help. And then it gets bad to the point where they harm their children. So if you are a part of a village and someone is asking you for help or someone is telling you, look, I'm feeling overwhelmed, I'm exhausted, I need a break, put your personals to the side. Help them out. Because you don't want it to get to the point where it's too late and then they do something and you're like, well, why didn't they say anything when they have been telling you all along? They have been telling you. Be a support system. Help out. Another thing you could do is let go of the pressure. It's okay to have takeout sometimes. Takeout is a big thing in my house. And it's not because I don't enjoy cooking, because I do. I genuinely enjoy cooking. I love making food. I love making new things. But sometimes at the end of the day, I don't have the energy. I don't have the energy. So yeah, we're going to order out. Or everyone's going to find something quick to eat. Some mornings, I get my little one up and maybe I'm not ready for him to come downstairs quite yet. So I may put the TV on for him. Yes, I do. And I know they say, oh, keep the screen time minimum. Sometimes screen time is the only thing that can keep them calm. So yes, if he asks to watch Mickey Mouse Clubhouse, he calls it hot dog. But if he asks to watch that, absolutely. Because guess what? I know I'm guaranteed at least 10 minutes of quietness because he's occupied. And that doesn't make you less of a mom. It doesn't. You see those moms who are out in public and their kids are glued to iPads, and there's always that judgment. Oh my God, the kid's just glued to the iPad. But you don't know that household's dynamic. that may be the only way that mom can get something done. And that's okay. That's okay. When it's time for the day to end, always give yourself grace. Don't focus on what you didn't get done. Focus on what did you do that made your child feel loved? And what did I do for me? I have an affirmation for you. I give myself grace. I celebrate what I've done instead of mourning what I didn't. I want to remind you of this. And it's very important. And I say it all the time. You are not alone in this journey of motherhood. You're not alone. There are so many moms out here experiencing the same things that you are, whether they're going into office or they're work from home or they're a stay-at-home mom. So many are dealing with the same thing that you are. So whether you're clocking into an office every day or clocking onto Zoom in your pajamas, whether you have a supportive partner or a complicated co-parenting situation, or you're doing it all by yourself, whether you have a village or you are the village, you are not the only one carrying what feels impossible. Especially if you're working from home with babies or toddlers like I am now. And people, bless their hearts, people think it's easy. They hear work from home and picture you sipping coffee in sweats, lounging while the baby plays quietly beside you. That's not reality. It's not. It may be reality if you work from home and it's just you. You don't even have a pet. That's what you might get to do. But when my baby, my youngest one, when he was little, I could get work done while he napped. There was those pockets of peace. But now he is very active and curious and into everything. And it's exhausting. It's chaos. I have to mute my meetings sometimes to go and get him because he's climbing onto something. He's getting into something. I'm typing emails with one hand and the other hand, I'm trying to tell him stop touching this, or I'm getting him a snack, or whatever the case may be. I'm in a constant state of divided attention, and that mental load never shuts off. And the truth is, I work way harder at home than I do in office, because I'm not just an employee. I'm the snack maker. I kiss the boo-boos. I'm the toddler wrangler. Okay? All in one. Being a stay-at-home mom is one thing. But being a work-from-home mom with the kids right there is something else entirely. You're constantly switching gears, putting out fires, trying to make sure no one gets hurt, all while meeting deadlines and keeping up with your job. So if this is your life too, if you're in the thick of it, questioning whether you're doing enough or wondering if it's supposed to be this hard, let me tell you, you are not broken. This is just hard. And you're showing up for a role that no one gets trained for. No one gets medals for. No one gets pats on the back for. And yet somehow you're still doing it. But understand, you do not have to pretend like you have it all figured out. You don't. Because none of us have it all figured out. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Parenthood does not come with a manual. There is no script that you can follow in parenthood. There's no script. Every day you are learning something new. Every day, you are being taught something new, adding on to what you already know. So thank you for spending time with me today. If this episode made you feel seen, made you feel heard, please share it with another mama who's juggling all the things and wondering if she's doing enough. You are. You're doing more than enough. You're doing an amazing job. And don't let anyone make you feel any different. This isn't just a podcast. It's your space. It's our space. So take a deep breath. Drink some water. And remember, you don't have to be perfect. You just have to keep showing up.